owning 1,000 acres atop of what is now considered to be the second largest natural gas reserve in the world. The nearly 100-year-old Whitaker Farm would see their fortunes take a dramatic turn if New York State opts to remove a nearly 4-year moratorium on new gas drilling. Like many independent farmers, the Whitakers have had a tough time during the last couple of years. Depressed dairy prices, coupled with a recession, has made the difficult business of independent dairy farming nearly impossible.
It's been a struggle. Try to find ways to sustain and keep going has been a challenge, to say the least.
Making matters worse, the Whitakers are being forced by the EPA to make some major alterations to their farm. Adhering to the EPA's demands will cost the Whitaker farm nearly $600,000. While they've spent over $100,000 so far, the Whitakers don't know where the rest of the money will come from. It's an expense that Judy says would be offset if they were allowed to sign a new lease with one of the natural gas drilling companies.
In this instance, it would save our lives because it would be the income that we need to pay for this that right now, there's no money to pay for it. I mean, how many people, if confronted from a federal agency and said, come up with $600,000 in a year, how do you do that?
That southern part of the state is, not in disarray, but it's pretty close. A lot of the manufacturing, to the extent that there was manufacturing, is gone. Agriculture is still very much there, but a much less presence than it's had in the past. There's not a lot of money to invest in a farm, for example, or in another business. From a farm perspective, having natural gas Marcellus shale production would mean the farmers are able to reinvest in their farms, buy new equipment, maybe expand their farm, which is unheard of in some cases in New York State, and really put the kind of investment that needs to be done, needs to be placed in order to move forward.
Just over an hour's drive from the Whitaker farm sits Troy, Pennsylvania, a small township of 1,300 people on the eastern edge of the Appalachian Mountains and current hydraulic fracturing boomtown.
It came fast and it came hard, so we had to come up to speed real quick on the things we needed to know and needed to do.
Dan Close is the Troy Community Borough president and says besides the economic windfall for landowners and leaseholders, Troy's entire economy has been revitalized. The once sleepy dairy enclave now boasts a healthy capital reserve fund and a substantially decreased unemployment rate.
On the most part, I say it's been beneficial. It's been a learning curve for a lot of us. Some people, are concerned about the environment. They're concerned about pulling all this water and injecting stuff into the ground. But I believe that DEP has looked at that, in a good way, and I think it's being controlled properly.
Just down the road from downtown Troy is Milky Way Farms, owned and operated by the Seeley family.
There is a gas pipeline, see the brown spot way over, there's a dark brown spot way past the pond over there.
Despite receiving oil revenues that have paid to repair portions of the farm, Seeley struggles with the long-term implications of the fracking rush.
It has been a major transformation of the rural culture that we were used to, but the poor air quality levels and the high levels of water contamination in heavily drilled areas is very real, and so anybody that says that they're nuts about their concerns probably hasn't done enough reading or education about the potential downfall of all this.
The question of harm is complicated. While fracking is relatively new to Pennsylvania, it has been in use for some time in Texas, Oklahoma, and many other states. The EPA recently tied the technique to high levels of chemicals in the groundwater of Pavilion, Wyoming. And of the 2,200 active wells in Pennsylvania, the state has issued 1,927 violations, totaling $3.5 million in fines.
Our belief is that our Environmental Conservation Agency can learn from all the other states in the nation. This is not, it's new in New York, but not new in other areas or in other countries. And so our goal, and I know their goal, is they've toured Pennsylvania, they've talked with officials from Texas, Oklahoma, and Wyoming, and their goal is to mitigate those risks, learn from their mistakes to prevent that from happening here. And we really have every confidence they can do that.
Come here. And I feel confident with these new rules in place, drilling can be done successfully and safely. I mean, we have a lot at stake here. Our family farm, we have 2 grandsons now. We'd like to pass on this farm to. We want it to be there for them to enjoy the same lifestyle we have in a safe manner, and be able to feed the cows, feed the people, And I believe by these new rules being implemented, they'd be able to do that.
It's impossible to deny the economic benefit that hydraulic fracking would bring to these rural and agrarian communities. But like farming, the fruits will most likely be consumed far from its production origins, and its consequences, both socially and potentially environmentally, not felt by its consumers. Christopher Booker, Financial Times, Whitney Point, New York.